On the fifth quarter.
So we explored what would happen if Eli Manning never refused to play for the Chargers in 2004. Well, Eli Manning stays with the Chargers, and now Big Ben goes to the Giants, and Phillip Rivers goes to the Steelers. The Patriots still win Super Bowl 39. However, big changes the next year, as with Phillip Rivers, the Steelers don't make the playoffs, and they never become the first 6 seed to win the Super Bowl. Jerome Bettis never gets his fairy tale ending, and instead, Peyton Manning and the Colts win the Super Bowl. The following year, Manning still wins the Super Bowl, just like in real life. However, it's a different Manning this time. This time, Eli Manning and the Chargers win Super Bowl 41, and the following year, the Giants still face off against the Patriots in the Super Bowl. However, this time, Brady and the Pats win, and they become the first team in NFL history to go 19-0. The following 2 years bring some good news for Steelers fans, as with Chris Johnson, they are able to win the next 2 Super Bowls. They go back to back. See, Steelers fans, things aren't that bad. Okay, so you're all caught up, so we can finally get started. But before we do, I gotta say, just be sure to hit the subscribe button, and drop a like, and comment down below what you want to see in the future. We're a new channel, we're still growing, working out the kinks, but we're doing the best we can, and we're trying to produce great content for you guys. So please, the few seconds that it takes for you to do that stuff, it helps us out a ton. But with that being said, let's finally get into it. In the 2010 free agency, LaDainian Tomlinson re-signs with the Chargers after the Jets never go on the miracle run after losing to the Steelers in the wild card round. In addition, the Chargers already have a Super Bowl trophy with the help of Eli Manning, so LaDainian Tomlinson really feels no need to leave. The Steelers end the draft with the 32nd pick, and they select Roger Saffold. This is the draft in which the Steelers also select Antonio Brown. This takes us to the 2010-2011 NFL season, and the Giants still go 10-6 and make the playoffs. On the AFC side of things, the Chargers make the playoffs at 10-6, as they defeat the Chiefs in Week 1, and therefore they won the tiebreaker with the Chiefs. Bullets then become the 4th seed in the playoffs. The Steelers go 12-4, just like in real life, and they secure the first round bye. The updated AFC playoff standings have the Pats as the 1 seed, the Steelers as the 2 seed, the Colts as the 3 seed, the Chargers as the 4 seed, Ravens at the 5 seed, and the Jets as the 6 seed. The Colts still lose to the Jets in the opening round. The Chargers lose a close game to the Ravens, and Joe Flacco shines. That's it for Wild Card Weekend. In the divisional round, the Steelers face off against the Baltimore Ravens, and they win, where their defense really shines against young Joe Flacco. As for the Jets, without LaDainian Tomlinson, they lose to the Patriots, and the Patriots advance to the conference championship, where they meet the Steelers. The Patriots are able to beat the Steelers as they are playing the home game. The NFC playoffs stay the same, and this means that Brady and Rodgers meet in the Super Bowl for the first time. That's right, Brady and Rodgers play in the Super Bowl. In the Super Bowl, Rodgers and the Packers are able to defeat the Pats, and Rodgers wins Super Bowl MVP. This takes us to the 2011 NFL Draft. Nothing that drastic, but the Steelers now get Muhammad Wilkerson instead of Cameron Hayward, and Cameron Hayward winds up in Foxborough and spends his time with the New England Patriots. In the 2011-2012 season, Tebow Mania still strikes, and the Chargers have a down year, and they miss the playoffs. The Steelers improve from their real-life 12-4 to 13-3, and here's what the updated AFC playoff standings look like. The Steelers are the 1 seed, the Pats are the 2 seed, the Texans are the 3 seed, Broncos at 4, Ravens at 5, Bengals at 6. Tebow Mania still strikes, and the Broncos knock off the Ravens. Houston still beats the Bengals. In the divisional round, Steelers beat Houston, and New England stops Tebow Mania. The Patriots and the Steelers face off in the conference championship, and the Patriots are still the AFC champions, and they go to the Super Bowl. Time to look at who they face from the NFC. Well, this is pretty simple actually. The Giants still go 9-7 in the regular season, and they win the division. They make the playoffs, and the miracle run still happens in the playoffs, as the Giants still have upsets over the Packers and the 49ers. The Giants go on to beat the Patriots in the Super Bowl, and Big Ben claims his first Super Bowl ring of this timeline. In the 2012 offseason, the Steelers now draft Kevin Zeitler instead of David DeCastro. the cash cow ends up going to the Bengals. Nothing changes in the draft for the Chargers and the Giants, as the Chargers still get Melvin Ingram, and the Giants still get David Wilson. In this offseason, LaDainian Tomlinson retires as a Charger. This takes us to the 2012-2013 season, and the Steelers once again go 8-8 and miss the playoffs. However, they now lose to the Giants and defeat the Chargers in the regular season. Without LaDainian Tomlinson, the Chargers struggle and downgrade from 7-9 to 6-10. With Big Ben, the Giants win 2 more games, and they go 11-5 and make the playoffs. Here's the updated playoff bracket in the NFC. The Falcons are the 1 seed, the Niners are the 2 seed, the Giants are the 3 seed, Packers at 4, Seahawks at 5, Vikings at 6. In the AFC, that remains the same. In the wild card, the Giants defeat the Vikings and the Packers defeat the Seahawks. Russ doesn't win a playoff game his rookie year. In the divisional round, the Giants lose to the Niners and the Falcons beat the Packers, and the Niners still go to the Super Bowl and lose to Baltimore. The 2013 draft stays the same for the Giants, as they still select Justin Pugh. As for the Chargers, they still select DJ Fluker with the 11th pick, but in the second round, they never trade up for Manti Te'o, but instead, they now get Le'Veon Bell, and they still select Keenan Allen in this draft. That's right, Chargers fans, your draft luck is no longer bad. The Steelers still get Jarvis Jones, and he's a bust, and after missing out on Le'Veon Bell, they fail this draft. This brings us to the 2013-2014 season. With lack of weapons for the Giants, they still go 7-9. The Steelers still miss the playoffs, and the Chargers improve from their real-life 9-7 and go 10-6 with an extra win against the Titans. So the AFC playoff picture now looks like this. The Broncos are the 1 seed, the Patriots are the 2 seed, 3 is the Bengals, 4 is the Colts, the 5 seed is now the Chargers, and the 6 seed is the Chiefs. The Chargers beat Andrew Luck and the Colts in the wild card, with more veteran experience on that team. In the divisional round, Tom Brady and the New England Patriots defeat the Chargers, and the Broncos still beat the Chiefs. The Broncos, with Peyton Manning now, they reach the Super Bowl after beating the Patriots, but they still get blown out to the Seahawks in MetLife Stadium. This takes us to the 2014 draft. The Giants find an answer to their lack of weapons, and they draft OBJ. Big Ben and OBJ are one of the league's best duos for years to come. The Steelers still get Ryan Shazier, and the Chargers still get Jason Verrett. Without Le'Veon Bell, the Steelers suffered as Chris Johnson still leaves in the offseason for the New York Jets, and they never find a viable replacement for him. They lose to the Browns, the Titans, and the Ravens. 3 extra losses. That's right, the Browns sweep the Steelers. The Steelers go 8-8 and miss the playoffs. As for the Giants, as Big Ben was a Pro Bowler in real life this year, the Giants won a few more games with Ben and Odell instead of Eli. This was before the O-line really starts to fall apart, so they don't really have to worry about that yet. They win 2 more games and go 8-8. The Chargers improve from their real life 9-7 and go 10-6. In the AFC, the playoffs look like Patriots at the 1 seed, Broncos at the 2 seed, Bengals at the 3 seed, Colts at the 4 seed, Ravens at the 5 seed, and now the 6 seed is the San Diego Chargers. In the NFC, that all stays the same. The Chargers beat the Bengals in the wildcard round, and Luck and the Colts defeat the Ravens. The Pats suspiciously beat the Colts, and rumors start to fly around about the Deflategate. However, this happens in the divisional round. As for the Chargers, they upset their division rival Denver Broncos, and they meet Tom Brady in the conference championship. Now, of course, with Eli Manning, the San Diego Chargers defeat the Patriots, and they move on to the Super Bowl in Eli's final push. Eli beats Russ and the Seahawks to win Super Bowl 49. That's right, the Malcolm Butler interception never happens. We like to think that Jason Verrett gets a nice Super Bowl moment here, and maybe he has that big interception to win the Chargers the game. Enter the 2015 NFL Draft, where we have some pretty major changes. Instead of the Chargers getting Melvin Gordon, the Steelers now land Melvin Gordon. The Chargers attempt a luxury depth pick, but they draft nobody meaningful. As for the New York Giants, they avoid a huge mistake, and they no longer get Eric Flowers. Instead, he goes to the New Orleans Saints, and the Giants find their franchise tackle Andres Pete, and Giants fans rejoice. In the 2015-2016 season, the Chargers had the definition of a Super Bowl hangover after being plagued with injuries. This is the year in real life where Bell gets hurt. And Eli, of course, as he's getting older and up there in age, he starts showing signs of regression. The Chargers finish 4-12. Without an atrocious season from Eric Flowers, the Giants are able to win another game against Washington. They sweep the Redskins and win the tiebreaker against them for the division at 8-8. They lose to the Packers in the wild card as their defense is too bad to keep up with Rodgers and the Packers. However, Coughlin never gets pushed out of New York this year after making the playoffs, and he remains the head coach. The rest of the NFC playoff picture stays the same. As for the Steelers, they swap seeds with the Bengals as the Steelers go 11-5 and the Bengals go 10-6. The new AFC playoff picture has the Broncos as the 1 seed and the Patriots as the 2 seed. Now, the Steelers are the 3 seed, the Texans are the 4 seed, Chiefs at 5, and the Bengals at 6. The Steelers beat the Bengals and the Texans still lose to the Chiefs. The Steelers still lose in the divisional round and the Broncos go on to win Super Bowl 50. In the 2016 offseason, Jerry Reese still wants to squeeze the most out he can out of Big Ben and still spends big in free agency even after making the playoffs. This takes us to the 2016 NFL Draft, where the Chargers still get Joey Bosa and Hunter Henry, which is a pretty good draft for them. The Steelers still sadly get Artie Burns, and since the Giants move up and the Redskins move down, the Giants no longer get Eli Apple. He instead goes to the Bucs. The Giants now get Vernon Hargreaves. Since the Giants are picking later now, this affects them in the second round. In real life, they get Sterling Shepard, but since they're picking later, the Saints now pick Sterling Shepard, and that's right, the New York Giants get Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas, Big Ben, and Odell all team up in New York. Enter the 2016-2017 season. The Chargers improve from their real-life 5-11 to 7-9. They get extra wins against the Raiders and Bucs. Their poor defense still leads them to some struggles. As for the Steelers, nothing changes. They still go 11-5, and Melvin Gordon shows flashes as their number 1 back. The Giants win 2 more games than they do in real life, with an improved O-line with Andres Pete, Michael Thomas, and Odell at receiver, and Big Ben at quarterback, who is playing at a much higher level at this point than Eli. They beat the Redskins and the Eagles each one more time, and they go 13-3, and they're now the 1 seed as they went 6-0 in the division, and they beat the tiebreaker against Dallas. After Odell suggests a boat trip, Tom Coughlin immediately shuts it down and makes the team study film instead. The playoffs now look like this. In the AFC, the Pats are the 1 seed, Chiefs are the 2 seed, Steelers at 3, Texans at 4, Raiders at 5, Dolphins at 6. In the NFC, the Giants are the 1 seed, Falcons are the 2 seed, the Seahawks are the 3 seed, Packers are the 4 seed, Cowboys are the 5 seed, and the Lions are the 6 seed. In the wild card round, the Packers now beat the Cowboys as they beat them in real life in the playoffs, and now the game is at Lambeau, so they beat them by even more. And Seattle still beats Detroit. Wildcard weekend stays the same in the AFC as well. Now for the divisional round also stays the same in the AFC. However, the Giants now beat Green Bay in the playoffs as they have home field advantage, and the boat trip never happens, and Tom Coughlin is still their coach. Atlanta beats Seattle, setting up a matchup for the Falcons and the Giants in the conference championship. This game is played in New York, and as Atlanta is a dome team, Matt Ryan and crew struggle mightily with the New York conditions. In the AFC, the Steelers still reach the conference championship, and they still lose to the Patriots, setting up another Giants-Patriots Super Bowl. Super Bowl 51, the Patriots versus the Giants. The Giants go up 28-3 with the explosive offense of Odell and Michael Thomas and Big Ben as well. And now they have a stellar defense with the likes of Janoris Jenkins, Landon Collins, Snacks Harrison, Olivier Vernon, and many, many more. However, as Coughlin is a smart coach, they run out the clock and they win the game. Super Bowl MVP goes to Odell, as Big Ben never won a Super Bowl MVP, and it always was his receivers. Now Tom Coughlin and Jerry Reese both retire on Super Bowl wins. Tom Coughlin still goes on to work for the Jags a little later, but we don't have to talk about that. Dave Gettleman becomes the new GM for the Giants. In the 2017 NFL Draft, the Giants now draft Dalvin Cook instead of Evan Ingram. Evan Ingram goes in the second round as originally projected, and he goes to the Rams. And the Steelers draft also stays the same with the selections of TJ Watt and Juju Smith-Schuster. In the 2017-2018 season, Ben McAdoo was in his first year as head coach, but just like in real life, Odell and Brandon Marshall both get hurt. But now with Michael Thomas instead of Sterling Shepard, the Giants are able to remain slightly competitive with a number one receiver. Dalvin Cook also gets hurt, just like in real life. The Giants beat the Eagles, Bucks, and Raiders, and Michael Thomas puts on a show this year as the Giants' number one receiver. But the Giants still go 6-10 and miss the playoffs. As for the Chargers, they barely missed the playoffs in real life, but with an extra win over the Jags, they sneak into the playoffs as a 5 seed. As for the Steelers, with Phillip Rivers and an improved Melvin Gordon, they secure the number 1 seed in the playoffs. In the playoffs, the Steelers are the 1 seed, the Patriots the 2 seed, the Chiefs are the 3 seed, Titans at 4, Chargers at 5, Jags at 6. In the wildcard round, the Chargers beat Mariota and the Titans, and Jacksonville beats up on Alex Smith and the Chiefs. The Steelers are surprisingly upset by the Jaguars, and Manning really struggles and loses to Brady and the Pats. This means the Chargers lose, and the Jaguars and the Patriots still face off in the conference championship. The Patriots still beat Bortles and the Jags, and they reach Super Bowl 52. In the NFC, the Vikings are the 1 seed, the Eagles are the 2 seed, Rams at 3, Panthers at 4, Saints at 5, Falcons at 6. The Panthers beat the Saints, and the Falcons beat the Rams. In the divisional round, the Eagles beat the Panthers, and the Vikings have a Minneapolis miracle, but this time against the Falcons, as the Saints lost in the wildcard round without Michael Thomas. In the conference championship, the Eagles still win, but the game is much closer as this time it's played in Minnesota. In the Super Bowl, the Eagles still knock off Tom Brady and the Patriots. In the 2018 offseason, the Giants never traded Odell as he is happy to be on a winning team. For the 2018 draft, there are some pretty major changes. The Browns get Baker Mayfield, but with an improved Giants, they don't get Saquon Barkley, and instead, the Browns take him at pick 3. At the 7th pick, the Bears now get Denzel Ward, which means at pick 9, the Giants select Roquan Smith. Later in the draft, the Cowboys now get Derwin James, and Leighton Vander Esch goes to the Chargers. Saints now draft Calvin Ridley. In the second round, Nick Chubb now goes to the Bucks, Will Hernandez goes to the Colts, and the Giants get Braden Smith. In the 2018-2019 season, the Giants win a few more games with that explosive offense, but the defense shows signs of regression, but it is still good enough. The Giants beat the Jaguars, Cowboys, Colts, and Panthers, and they now go 9-7. The Giants, Eagles, and Cowboys are in a 3-way tie for first place in the East. The Chargers once again go 12-4, and they're the 5 seed, despite Le'Veon Bell holding out to start the season. The Steelers have a down year, and a tie with the Browns in Week 1 almost comes back to bite them, but they still sneak into the playoffs as a 6 seed. Nothing changes in the AFC for the playoffs, and in the NFC, the Rams are now the 1 seed, the Bears are now the 2 seed, the Saints are the 3 seed, Eagles at 4, 5 is the Seahawks, and 6 is the Cowboys. In the wild card, the Saints beat the Cowboys and the Eagles beat the Seahawks. But in the divisional round, the Bears and Rams both win, which means they face each other in the conference championship. The Rams go to the Super Bowl after beating the Bears in the conference championship, and the Saints never start a petition as the PI call never happens. Everything stays the same in the AFC, and the Patriots versus the Rams in the Super Bowl. The Pats are victorious. In our final draft of this alternate reality, the Steelers trade up with the Dolphins to get Devin Bush at pick 12. At pick 18, the Titans will now take Christian Wilkins. And since the Giants are now picking at pick 19, they still take Sexy Dexter Lawrence. The Dolphins get Jeffrey Simmons at pick 26, and the Broncos take Danny Dimes at pick 9. This means that in the second round, the Chargers draft Drew Lock. In the 2019-2020 season, not much really changes. There are some brief little record changes here and there, but nothing major to point out. Manning does still get benched by the Chargers, and they replace him with a young Drew Lock. But Drew Lock gets hurt in Week 15, and Manning finishes out his career in Week 16 and 17, and has a wonderful retirement speech, this time in San Diego. That's right, the Chargers never moved to LA as they now have 2 Super Bowl victories under their belt. The Steelers improve from their real life 8-8 and they make the playoffs at 9-7. This time, they're the ones to upset Tom Brady and the Patriots, and it's not the Titans as they replace them in the playoffs. Everything else pretty much stays the same, and the Chiefs still knock off the 49ers and they win their first Super Bowl in a very, very long time. So that pretty much concludes the video. I'm going to do a brief little recap though, because that was pretty long. So Big Ben and the Giants win Super Bowl 46 and 51, both times against the Pats, and now Big Ben earns the nickname Big Ben the Brady Slayer. The future looks bright in New York with Dalvin Cook and Michael Thomas and OBJ leading the way. As Big Ben is still playing at a high level, the Giants look to make one more final push before his retirement. Phillip Rivers now has a Rookie of the Year to add to his list of accolades, and with the Steelers, he wins back-to-back Super Bowls for Super Bowl 43 and 44. However, Jerome Bettis never gets his fairy tale ending after they lose to Peyton and the Colts. The Colts ended up winning that Super Bowl 40. The 2 Super Bowl wins for the Steelers couldn't be done without the help of Chris Johnson. Eli Manning still wins 2 Super Bowls, but this time it's Super Bowl 41 and 49. He retires as a Charger. As for the rest of the league, the Patriots make history, and they're the first team to ever go 19-0, and without Eli Manning, the Giants don't defeat them in the Super Bowl. Rodgers and Brady face off in a Super Bowl, and Aaron Rodgers takes home the gold. Drew Brees and the Saints are now still searching for a ring. The Browns have a new dynamic duo with Baker Mayfield, Saquon Barkley, and Jarvis Landry. And well, Antonio Brown still goes mental. For a ring counter, Eli Manning finishes his career with 2 rings. Phillip Rivers now has 2 rings. Big Ben has 2. Tom Brady doesn't have 6. He has 4. Peyton Manning takes home 2, and Drew Brees walks away with 0. So thank you guys for sticking around and watching. These take a long time to make, like a very, very long time to make. So yeah, do all that stuff. Like, share, subscribe. You know the drill. Hey, everyone says it. You know it at this point. Thanks for taking a trip with me to an alternate reality in which Eli Manning never refused to play for the Chargers.